The darkness of space shattered as massive alien ships burst through the invisible barrier between dimensions. One by one, thousands of vessels materialized at the edge of Earth's solar system, their hulls gleaming like deadly jewels against the star-filled void. The hegemony's third fleet had arrived, and with them came the shadow of conquest that had already fallen across 17 worlds. Admiral Velthek stood on the bridge of his flagship, Eternal Dominion, his forearms crossed behind his back as he gazed at the tactical displays floating before him. The holographic screens showed Earth as a small blue dot in the distance, seemingly helpless and alone.
Ow!
His elongated skull bore the ritual scars of a warrior who had never known defeat, and his pale eyes held the cold confidence of someone who viewed this mission as little more than routine cleanup. "Status report," he commanded, his voice carrying the authority of absolute power. His tactical officer, a younger Zephyrian with smooth, unscarred skin, manipulated the floating displays with practiced efficiency. 15 worlds conquered, Admiral. 17 complete victories. Not a single vessel lost in any engagement. The humans appear to possess even less military capability than our previous targets. Velthok's mandibles clicked together in what his species considered laughter. The intelligence reports painted Earth's inhabitants as barely evolved primates who had only recently managed to crawl beyond their own atmosphere. Their technology was primitive, their military forces scattered and weak. This would be the easiest conquest yet. Meanwhile, deep within Earth Defense Command's underground bunker, Captain Kim Jin-ho sat motionless at his command station. His weathered face, lined by years of military service, showed no emotion as alien transmissions flooded every communication channel on Earth. The captain had fought in 3 different wars during his career, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. The enemy's message was crystal clear, broadcast in perfect human languages across every frequency. "People of Earth," the alien voice, spoke with mechanical precision, "you will surrender immediately and unconditionally. Your primitive civilization will be absorbed into the hegemony. Resistance is futile and will result in the complete destruction of your species. You have 1 standard day to comply." Lieutenant Park Minji looked up from her communications console, her young face pale with worry. She had graduated from the military academy only 2 years ago, and her training had focused on human conflicts, not alien invasions. "Captain, they're not even pretending to negotiate. No diplomatic contact, no attempt at peaceful resolution. They're treating us like we've already lost." Captain Kim nodded grimly. The aliens' arrogance was obvious in every word of their ultimatum. They saw humanity as insects to be crushed, not as intelligent beings worthy of consideration. "Continue monitoring all frequencies, Lieutenant. Record everything. Even their overconfidence might give us useful information." Above Earth's atmosphere, the few human vessels that could respond to the crisis looked pitiful compared to the alien armada. Converted mining ships hung in space, like floating scrapyards, their hulls patched with welded metal plates and jury-rigged equipment. The official military vessels weren't much better, mostly outdated fighters and patrol craft that had been designed for conflicts between human nations, not interstellar warfare. Admiral Velthak studied the human defensive positions through his ship's advanced sensors. The primitive vessels were spread thin across Earth's orbital space, clearly attempting to form some kind of defensive perimeter. The sight filled him with amusement rather than concern. These humans were like children playing with toy weapons, completely unaware of the sophisticated military force that had come to destroy them. "Admiral," reported his weapons officer, "our long-range scanners show significant industrial activity on the planet's surface, but no signs of advanced military installations. Their orbital defenses consist primarily of converted civilian vessels and outdated military hardware. We could eliminate their entire fleet within minutes of engaging." The hegemony fleet moved deeper into the solar system, with the steady confidence of apex predators approaching helpless prey. Each ship in the Armada represented centuries of military evolution and technological advancement. Their weapons could vaporize entire cities from orbit. Their shields could deflect the most powerful attacks, and their hulls were forged from materials that could withstand the heat of dying stars. In contrast, the human ships looked like they had been assembled in junkyard workshops. Their hulls were scarred with burn marks and welding seams. Their weapons appeared to be simple projectile systems, and their movements seemed clumsy and uncoordinated. Everything about Earth's defenders screamed weakness and desperation. Captain Kim Jin-ho watched the alien fleet's approach on his tactical display. Each enemy ship represented by a red dot moving inexorably toward Earth. The numbers were overwhelming. Thousands of alien vessels against a few dozen human ships. Advanced alien technology against improvised human equipment. Professional alien warriors against hastily trained human crews. Yet something in the captain's weathered face suggested he wasn't ready to surrender. His fingers drummed silently against his command console as he studied the enemy formation, looking for patterns, weaknesses, anything that might give humanity a chance. Around him, his staff worked quietly at their stations, their faces grim but determined. The hegemony had conquered 17 worlds without losing a single ship. Their reputation for invincibility preceded them across the galaxy, striking fear into the hearts of entire civilizations. But they had never faced humans before, and they had no idea what desperate ingenuity could accomplish when survival was at stake. The alien fleet moved through space like hungry wolves descending on a flock of sheep. One by one, the automated defense platforms that guarded Earth's outer territories exploded in brilliant flashes of light. The hegemony ships fired their weapons with casual precision, treating the destruction like target practice rather than actual combat. Research Station Alpha 7, which had been humanity's farthest outpost near Neptune, lasted exactly 12 seconds against the alien attack. The small facility's emergency beacon managed to transmit a brief distress signal before the station vaporized completely, leaving only glowing debris scattered across the void. Subcommander Rathlos piloted his sleek fighter through the asteroid belt, weaving between floating rocks with practiced ease. His ship was a work of art compared to the crude human vessels fleeing before him. The alien craft's hull gleamed. With advanced materials, its weapons charged with energy that could cut through solid metal like a hot knife through butter. "Command, this is Hunter Squadron." Rathlos spoke into his communication device, his voice filled with amusement. "The humans are running away faster than we can chase them. Their ships look like they were built in someone's backyard." His wingman's laughter crackled through the comm channel. "I've seen garbage scows with better construction. Look at that one, trying to hide behind the asteroid. Its hull is literally held together with welded patches." The human vessels did indeed appear pathetic as they retreated toward Mars. Their engines left trails of uneven exhaust. Their hulls showed signs of hasty repairs, and their movements seemed clumsy and desperate. Every time a hegemony fighter approached, the human ships would flee, firing weak projectile weapons that bounced harmlessly off alien shields, but thousands of miles away. On the hidden side of Earth's moon, Admiral Lee Hanna saw something very different on her tactical displays. Her command center was buried deep beneath Luna Base, protected by layers of rock and advanced shielding. The room hummed with quiet activity as dozens of technicians monitored screens showing data streams from across the solar system. Admiral Lee was a small woman with sharp eyes and graying, hair pulled back in a tight military bun. She had spent 30 years in Earth's military, rising through the ranks by being smarter than her enemies rather than stronger. Now, as she watched the alien fleet tear through humanity's outer defenses, her expression remained calm and calculating. "Major Choi, what are our retreating ships telling us?" she asked quietly. Major Choi Seok stood beside a large holographic display that showed the entire solar system. Red dots represented alien ships, while blue dots showed human vessels. Green lines connected the dots, showing weapon trajectories and energy signatures. "Every ship that engages the enemy sends us detailed sensor readings before pulling back. We're mapping their weapon frequencies, shield harmonics, and tactical patterns." The Major touched the holographic display, and it zoomed in on one of the recent battles. Their primary weapons operate on a narrow energy band. Their shields cycle through 3 different frequency ranges, and their fighters always attack in groups of 6, using the same formation every time. Admiral Lee nodded approvingly. To the aliens, it looked like humanity was running in panic. In reality, Every retreat was carefully planned to gather maximum intelligence while preserving human lives. Each engagement lasted just long enough to collect valuable data before the human ships fled to safety. Phase 1 complete, reported another officer from across the command center. All sensor data compiled and analyzed. We now have detailed information on their weapons, shields, and tactical doctrines. Meanwhile, the hegemony fleet continued its advance, growing more confident with each easy victory. Admiral Veltak reviewed the battle reports from his flagship, pleased with the rapid progress. The human resistance was even weaker than expected. Ships fled at the first sign of contact. Their weapons were laughably primitive. Their defensive positions crumbled without putting up any real fight. Sir called his sensor operator. We're detecting some unusual energy readings throughout the system. Looks like power buildups in various locations. Velthak barely glanced at the readings. The energy signatures were scattered and weak, probably. Just the humans' primitive industrial equipment trying to adapt to wartime conditions. Ignore them. These mammals can barely manage interplanetary flight. They certainly don't possess anything that could threaten us. The alien admiral was so focused on the obvious targets that he completely missed the subtle preparations happening around him. What his sensors detected as harmless industrial activity was actually Earth's true defensive network coming online. Asteroid mining facilities that appeared to be simple commercial operations were actually disguised weapons platforms. Orbital construction yards that looked like civilian shipbuilding centers were actually military bases, deep within the asteroid belt. Automated systems began powering up weapons that had been hidden for decades. On Mars, underground bunkers opened to reveal gun emplacements that could punch holes through starship hulls. Even some of the fleeing human vessels weren't what they appeared to be. Carrying concealed weapons that would activate when the time was right, the hegemony fleet pressed forward, drunk on what they believed was certain victory. Their pilots joked about human cowardice. Their commanders planned the coming occupation of Earth. And their admiral dreamed of adding another easy conquest to his record. None of them realized that humanity's retreat was not the end of the battle, but merely the setup for what was coming next. Earth had spent decades preparing for this moment, and the aliens were about to discover that appearances could be very deceiving. The moment the alien vanguard crossed into Mars orbit, changed. What had been a steady retreat suddenly became a carefully orchestrated ambush that would haunt the hegemony for generations to come. The first sign of trouble came from what appeared to be a damaged human cargo ship limping away from the advancing alien fleet. Its hull was scarred with burn marks, its engines sputtered with irregular bursts, and it moved with the awkward desperation of a wounded animal trying to escape. The hegemony fighters barely gave it a second glance as they swept past, focused on what they believed were more important targets. Captain Namjoon sat in the command chair of the disguised vessel, watching his tactical display with the patience of a hunter waiting for the perfect shot. His ship, the Merchant's Dream, looked like a battered freight hauler from the outside, but hidden beneath its scarred hull lay weapons that could crack a moon in half. Months of careful preparation had gone into this moment, and every member of his crew knew their lives depended on perfect timing. "Target locks confirmed," whispered his weapons officer, her voice tight with nervous energy. 3 destroyers in perfect formation, shields down, weapons cold. They're not even considering us a threat. Namjoon watched the alien ships draw closer, their sleek hulls gleaming with confident arrogance. The hegemony destroyers were massive vessels, each one capable of glassing an entire city. But they flew in a loose formation that spoke of complete contempt for human capabilities. They had no idea they were flying into the jaws of a carefully prepared trap. "All units, this is Trojan Horse," Namjoon spoke into his communicator, using the codename that would signal the beginning of humanity's counterattack. "The dance begins now." The cargo ship's hull suddenly split open like a blooming flower, revealing the massive particle cannon hidden within. The weapon had been salvaged from a destroyed alien scout ship years earlier, reverse-engineered by Earth's best scientists and modified with human ingenuity. When it fired, the beam of focused energy cut through space like a sword of light. Punching through the lead destroyer's shields as if they were made of paper, the alien ship exploded in a brilliant fireball that lit up the Martian sky. Before the other two destroyers could react, the hidden cannon fired again, and then a third time. In less than 10 seconds, 3 of the hegemony's most powerful warships were reduced to expanding clouds of superheated debris. Namjoon's crew erupted in cheers, but their celebration was short-lived. Across the battlefield, the real battle was just beginning. What the aliens had dismissed as harmless mining equipment suddenly revealed its true purpose. Ships that looked like simple cargo haulers opened their holds and released swarms of smart mines that had been disguised as ordinary freight containers. The mines activated their tiny engines and began seeking out alien vessels with the relentless hunger of mechanical predators. Colonel Bayuna's fighter squadron emerged from behind. A large asteroid, their ships bristling with weapons that no human military had ever officially produced. The fighters were patchwork creations, built from salvaged human technology and alien equipment recovered from previous encounters. They looked like flying junkyards, but they moved with the deadly precision of apex predators. Phoenix Squadron. Engage at will, Bayuna commanded, her voice calm despite the chaos erupting around her. Remember, they're not invincible. They just thought they were. The human fighters attacked like a pack of wolves, using tactics that the hegemony had never encountered before. Where alien doctrine relied on formation flying and overwhelming firepower, the humans fought dirty. They used the asteroid field as cover, ambushing alien fighters from unexpected angles. They attached explosive charges to alien hulls and detonated them at point-blank range. They even rammed damaged alien ships, sacrificing themselves to take down multiple enemies. The aliens found themselves facing an enemy that refused to follow the accepted rules of space combat. Human forces turned everything into a weapon. Asteroid. Mining charges became improvised bombs. Industrial cutting lasers became ship-killing weapons. Even simple cargo containers were weaponized, filled with radioactive waste and launched at alien formations like enormous dirty bombs. Admiral Velthak watched the battle from his flagship, his confidence evaporating as his invincible fleet began taking serious casualties. The tactical display showed red icons winking out of existence as human forces destroyed ship after ship with weapons and tactics that shouldn't have existed. "How are they doing this?" he demanded, his voice cracking with disbelief. "These are primitive mammals. They can barely manage interplanetary flight." His tactical officer's hands shook as he worked the controls, trying to make sense of the chaos. "Admiral, they're using our own technology against us. Those weapons, ... some of them are modified versions of our equipment. They've been studying us, learning from us." For the first time in his long military career, Admiral Velthak felt something he hadn't experienced since he was a young officer facing his first battle: genuine fear. The humans weren't just fighting back, they were winning. Ships that had conquered 17 worlds were being destroyed by primitive mammals, who refused to accept their place in the galactic order. The battle raged on, but the outcome was no longer certain. Humanity had revealed its true nature. The galaxy would never underestimate Earth again. The blue marble that was Earth suddenly transformed into something the hegemony had never encountered before. What had appeared to be a peaceful, defenseless world revealed itself as a fortress that had been decades in the making. The planet's surface erupted with weapons fire as humanity unleashed the full fury of their industrial civilization, turned into an instrument of war. Deep beneath the bustling city of Seoul, Dr. Song Aaron sat in a command bunker that had been carved from solid rock 50 meters underground. The facility hummed with energy as dozens of technicians worked at holographic control panels that connected to every major industrial facility on Earth. Song Aaron was a small woman with hair and hands that moved like a pianist's. Across the floating displays before her, magnetic rail launcher sites 1 through 20 prepare for coordinated strike. She spoke into her headset, voice steady despite the chaos erupting above ground. "Target the alien heavy cruisers in grid section 7, cross Earth's surface." Cargo launchers that had been built to send supplies to orbital stations suddenly pivoted toward the sky with deadly intent. These massive electromagnetic rail systems had been designed to accelerate shipping containers to escape velocity, but now they loaded tungsten rods the size of telephone poles. When the launchers fired, the metal projectiles screamed into space at incredible speeds. Moving so fast, they became invisible streaks of destruction. The alien heavy cruiser, Dominion of Stars, never saw the tungsten rod coming. The projectile struck the ship's hull with the force of a small nuclear weapon, punching completely through the vessel and out the other side. The cruiser broke apart like a toy hit by a hammer, its pieces spinning away into the void while atmosphere and crew vented into space. "Direct hit on Target 1, reported a technician. "Launcher sites 21 through 40, engaging targets in grid section 12. The hegemony fleet found itself caught in a web of destruction that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Earth's orbital space became a killing field where alien ships died by the dozens as humanity revealed weapons that had been hidden in plain sight for generations. Commander Park Do-yeon coordinated the defense from his position aboard Luna Defense Station, watching his tactical displays with grim satisfaction as alien ships exploded one after another. The station itself was disguised as a simple communication relay, but its real purpose was to serve as the nerve center for Earth's hidden weapon network. "Their shields are adapting to our particle beam frequencies," he reported to Dr. Song. "But every time they adjust their defenses, we switch to a different type of weapon. They can't keep up with our changes." The aliens had built their military doctrine around predictable enemies who fought with standardized weapons and tactics. They expected their shields to adapt to enemy fire and their armor to withstand known types of attacks. But humanity fought with the desperate creativity of a species that had spent decades preparing. For exactly this moment, fusion reactors that had been built to power cities suddenly became massive bombs. Dr. Song triggered controlled overloads that turned peaceful power plants into explosions visible from orbit. Entire alien squadrons disappeared in the nuclear fires humanity sacrificed its own infrastructure to defend the planet. "Communications satellite network. Activate attack protocol," Song commanded, her fingers dancing across controls that would have seemed impossible to any observer. "Target alien fighters in sectors 15 through 20. Hundreds of satellites that had spent years providing television and internet service to Earth suddenly changed course, using their small maneuvering thrusters to intercept alien fighters. The satellites weren't designed as weapons, but when they rammed into enemy ships at orbital velocities, the results were devastating. Each collision created a brief nova of destruction as metal and electronics vaporized in clouds of superheated plasma. The most spectacular weapon of all was Earth's orbital elevator, a massive cable stretching from the planet's surface into space. The cable was made of carbon nanotubes stronger than any natural material. When Dr. Song activated its defensive systems, it began to move like a gigantic whip. Alien fighters that flew too close to the cable found themselves sliced in half by a weapon that was essentially invisible to their sensors. Sub-Commander Rathlos found himself trapped in a nightmare that defied everything he thought he knew about warfare. His fighter squadron had been reduced from 12 ships to 3 in a matter of minutes, and the humans kept finding new ways to kill them. Industrial equipment became weapons, civilian infrastructure became traps, and even the planet's own orbital mechanics were turned against the invading fleet. "Command, this is Hunter Squadron," he transmitted, his voice cracking with panic as another of his wingmen exploded in a ball of fire. "We need immediate evacuation. These humans, they're not what we thought they were." The ship's sensors screamed warnings as a tungsten rod missed his hull by mere meters. The projectile moving so fast it created a brief sonic boom in the thin atmosphere around his fighter. Rathlos threw his ship into a desperate, evasive pattern, but everywhere he turned, new weapons appeared to threaten him. "They're not primitives," he transmitted in his final message before a communication. Satellite rammed his fighter at 17,000 kilometers per hour. "They're apex predators. Warn the fleet. Warn everyone. Earth is not what it appears to be." The hegemony's Invincible Armada was learning the hard way that humanity had turned their entire civilization into a weapon. In fire across the dark sky, the alien ships tried to run away, but they found something terrible. Humans were already waiting for them in space. Years ago, Earth had sent secret ships to many star systems. These ships carried people who built hidden bases on empty planets and moons. The aliens did not know about these bases. Captain Yunhound flew her fighter ship near the edge of the solar system. Behind her, 20 more human ships followed. They had been hunting the running alien ships for hours. Her radio crackled as she spoke to the enemy. "This is Captain Yoon to all alien ships. You came here thinking we were weak animals, but you were wrong. We are the hunters now." The alien commander's voice came back, full of fear. "Human, you do not understand. The hegemony has thousands of ships, millions of soldiers. We will return with more forces." Yoon laughed. "Let them kind laugh. Let them come. We will be ready." Far below on planets the aliens had taken over, something strange was happening. The alien soldiers thought they controlled these worlds completely. But in the dark corners of cities and deep caves and in old buildings, humans were hiding. These people had been waiting and planning on the planet Kepler-4 for to be. A human woman named Sarah Chen crawled through air vents in an alien command center. She carried a bomb made from alien technology that other humans had stolen and learned to use. The aliens never thought the primitive humans could understand their machines. They were wrong. Sarah reached the main power room. She placed the bomb and set the timer. In 10 minutes, the entire alien base would lose power. Then her friends would attack from all sides. Similar attacks happened on 12 other worlds at the same time. The aliens called for help, but their messages never reached their home worlds. Human ships in space were blocking all alien communications. Back on Earth, Admiral Lee Hanna stood in the command center. Round her screens showed the battle happening across many star systems. Her people were winning everywhere. "Admiral," said a young officer, "we are getting reports from all sectors. The alien retreat is turning into a total defeat." Lee nodded. She walked to the main communication system. It was time to send a message that the entire galaxy would hear. "This is Admiral Lee Hanna of the Earth Defense Force," she began. Her voice was calm but deadly serious. "To all alien races who can hear this message, remember this day. The hegemony came to Earth expecting to find scared, weak creatures. Instead, they found warriors." She paused, looking at the screens showing burning alien ships. "Earth does not bow down to bullies. We do not give up when attacked. We do not forget who hurt us. We never, ever forgive those who try to destroy our home." The message continued broadcasting on every frequency the humans could reach. Across the galaxy, alien races heard these words and felt afraid for the first time. In centuries, on the bridge of the last big alien warship, Commander Vexstar watched his fleet fall apart. Half his ships were destroyed. The other half were running away as fast as they could. The humans chased them like wolves hunting deer. "Sir," said his communications officer, "we are receiving surrender offers from 7 of our ships." Vexstar closed all 4 of his eyes. The hegemony had never lost a war. They had conquered hundreds of worlds. But these humans were different. They fought like demons and never stopped attacking. "Tell the fleet to retreat to the jump point," he ordered. "We must warn the High Council about these creatures." As the surviving alien ships jumped back to their home space, they carried stories that would change everything. They told of humans who appeared from nowhere, who fought without fear, who used captured alien weapons better than the aliens themselves. The aliens had expected to find a planet full of soft, easy targets. Instead, they found a world of predators who had been preparing for war their entire history, back on Earth. The celebration was quiet. People knew this was just the beginning. The aliens would return with bigger fleets and more soldiers. Humans were ready for that too. New ships were already being built in hidden factories. Human volunteers were training on captured alien equipment. And in deep space, the secret bases were expanding, ready to strike at alien worlds when the time came. "Admiral," Lee looked up at the stars through the command center's windows. Somewhere out there, alien leaders were learning that Earth was no longer alone and helpless. Humanity had joined the galactic community. but not as servants or victims. They had joined as equals, who would fight for their place among the stars. The galaxy would never be the same again.